So very excited to have you guys here. And actually, I'm really excited about this topic because we spend so much time talking about how to build a jewelry business, and a lot of it is focused on the early stages or the first few years. And so I'm excited that we get to share about the growth because that sometimes gets a little bit put to the side. And it is different. There's a difference between starting a jewelry business or any business really and growing one. There's different things that are needed. There are different areas of focus. There's similarities, and of course, there's crossover. But today, I'm going to be focusing specifically on growth, and everyone is welcome. So if you're here and you're thinking, I'm not sure if I'm ready to grow yet, that's fine. Everyone is welcome, but I'm aiming it at people who have perhaps been in business, I'd say at least 3 years, or has got to the stage where you've got a website, you're doing email marketing, you're sharing regularly on socials, perhaps you're doing some fairs and events. You might not be doing all of these things, but you've got something going and you're making sales, but you've reached a point where you think, okay, but now I'd like to grow what I'm doing. I'd like to take it to the next stage. And like I mentioned before, we often say this thing of what got you here won't necessarily get you there. And there are some things that are a little bit different when we're looking at growth in terms of switching the focus. And so we're going to be looking at those today. So if you are joining, do come say hi in the chat. If you're here live with me, I'm just going to pull up my chat now so I can say hello to some people, and maybe let us know where you're tuning in from today. I was curious. I am based quite near Brighton on the south coast, a little place called Goring by Sea. Hence the reason why we have a Jewellery Academy Brighton, because it's easy enough for me to get to. Anna Campbell is joining us here in the chat today. She is our community manager, so you might see her answering some questions and posting in the chat. She is in chilly Scotland. It is chilly even down here today. I know what's happening. I guess it is winter, so it's allowed. Patricia's here from Canada. Welcome, Patricia. Liz is here from Germany. Emily's here. Hi, Emily from Manchester. Welcome, welcome. Ami is here from Liverpool. Jade is here from Belgium. We have a whole mixture. Pat's from Mexico. Oh, love it. Yvette from South Wales in the UK. So it's an international audience today. I feel like none of us are in the same place, which is really cool. So please feel free to use the chat at any time throughout the session to talk to each other. I'm sure we can learn from each other as much as we can learn from me in the session today. And I will get to questions towards the end as well. So we've got lots to get through. So we will get started on your roadmap to growing a jewelry business. So first of all, I just want to say and acknowledge how exciting it is to kind of affirm to yourself that you do want to grow, because not everybody wants to grow all of the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. There are definitely years where it's more consolidating and kind of just focusing on other things, perhaps focusing on some training or whatever it is. But when you've identified, okay, this year, and I suppose I'm thinking ahead to next year now, but you can start at any time, I really want to grow the business. And I think it does take a bit of concerted effort to say that this is something you're going to focus on. Now, of course, growth happens naturally anyway, and it kind of happens almost by accident, which is great. But I think there are some years where we sort of say, okay, I'm ready to sort of give it a good push this year. So my question to get us started, come and share in the chat if you're here. On a scale of 1 to 10, how ready are you for your next chapter? And it can be a 10. That's like, I'm ready. I'm raring to go. I want it. And it can be all the way down to a 1, and that's okay. It might be that you're not really ready for it yet, or perhaps it's somewhere in the middle and you kind of want to, but you're a bit nervous, or you're not sure about, the sacrifices that might be needed as a result of it. So what do we have? Oh, we have lots. Emily's a 10. Love it, Emily. Ami's a 10. Jan is an 8. Awesome. Jade is a 7. Sabine is a 9. Also, we're all very high. We're all up there. I mean, I guess we are on a growth masterclass, and that does make sense. But if you're listening later and you're not as 10 out of 10 of these guys, it's okay. But I think it's good to acknowledge where we are and then to see what we're going to be able to do as a result of that. And like I said, some years will be more growth years, other years will be more consolidation years. Both are important. If you were like growing 10 out of 10 every year, you'd probably be on your way to burning out. So we want to have some balance. But having said that, when it comes and you're ready to do it, it's brilliant to take advantage of that. So yeah, knowing what you want is definitely the first step. And I put a little picture of Arlo, my dog, here because he definitely knows what he wants. You know, it's usually just simple things: walking, food, cuddles, but he's not afraid to ask for it, and he gets what he wants. He does. He has a way of getting it. So I think it's a good reminder that if we know what we want, that's a really good place to start. And almost assuming that we're going to get it can be quite useful. Like, this is coming, this is happening. We don't know the time scale, we can't force it, but I'm on the path. And that having that confidence, knowing that just that quiet reassurance inside that this is going to happen for us is really powerful as well. So let's take a look at what it takes to grow a jewelry business. And in this session, I'll be walking you through a clear roadmap for growing a jewelry business, looking at different areas of the business and what you might need to focus on in order to grow. We'll also be looking at you as the business owner and what you might need in order to grow the business, because you are the core part of the business. You are the engine behind it all. And also, I like to start with a few quick tips that you can try right now if you're not doing them already. So I will be sharing towards the end of the session about our incredible Jewellery Business Academy, which is a one-year program starting very soon in January, which is crazy to say that that's very soon, but it's going to be here before we know it. We run it every year, and this year is going to be bigger and better than ever. And for the first year, it is CPD certified, which means that not only do you get the awesome training, but it does add CPD points as well with your certificate at the end of the program. So I'll be talking a bit more about that towards the end of the session once we've gone through the content. So if you're interested, do stay on, because it's our main way that we support jewelers to grow their business, whatever stage they're at along the journey. Awesome. So over the years, we have discovered exactly what it takes to grow a jewelry business. And the good news is it's not that hard. It's not super complicated. It's kind of a formula that works. We do it all in our own way. It's not just a stencil put on to everyone. Everyone's got their own journey, but it's not rocket science, I like to say. And that's not to belittle it, because at times it can feel like it is absolutely impossible. And I think the things that are hard, but at times feel impossible, there's some support that is needed. And it's because it's the consistency, it's the showing up, even when things don't seem to be happening, that can make it feel impossible, even though the actual actions we need to take are not that challenging in of themselves. So we've worked with thousands of jewelers over the years and watched their jewelry businesses grow. And it's been really rewarding from my end to be able to see people go from that beginning stage where you don't even know it, like, is it possible? Am I going to be able to build a business? Will it be able to support me? How long will that take? All these very normal, valid questions, to see people who don't even ask that anymore because they're just doing it. It's just happening. And they've got new challenges and new things they're focused on, because that's kind of how the human brain works, isn't it? We don't just sit and say, great, I've made it. We focus on the next challenge, which is, oh, do I need to open another shop? Or how do I manage these customers, or all these other things? So there is always more to come. So let's start with some quick wins. I think that's a nice place to start. So first of all, really important, especially as we're going into 2026, it's becoming more and more important to lead with authentic marketing. So what I mean by this is, however you're marketing your business, share from the heart and focus on relatable content. So I know for a lot of us, we are focused on Instagram, but you may have a different channel, TikTok, Pinterest, wherever, really focusing on you being at the forefront of that and sharing your personality in that, sharing your story in that. And we say this all the time, but it's because it is probably one of the most important things to your growth, is that connection with the customer. So if you can keep showing up, and this is where it's not that hard to do, but sometimes it feels impossible because you're like, I've been doing this for so long and I've not seen, the huge change that I want. But knowing that this strategy does work and it's more about consistency and just keeping at it, rather than going viral or having like a big impact. It's more about those quality over quantity connections and just building your community around your brand. So posting videos, posting carousels, sharing about your story. We're going to go into that a little bit more, but that is something that you can do today, tomorrow, and forever after. And whether it's sharing in stories or sharing reels or sharing, a whole mixture of content, just keep showing up and leading with that authenticity, which I think is, especially with AI and automation and everything that's coming, it's actually even more important that we're a bit messy and we show up as we are and we're just sharing the truth about what's going on, and that really helps to build connection. So the second quick win is to speak to one new person a day about your jewelry business. This one is perhaps a little bit more challenging, but it is a challenge I would like to set you. And the way that I mean this is, when we are building a business, networking is such a key part of that, having conversations around your jewelry business. So wherever you are, whether you're getting your hair cut, in the school playground, going to the gym, whatever it is, you interact with people all the time. And so if you can have a chat with any one of those people each day that involves your jewelry business in some way, and it's not a sales chat, it's not saying, please buy my jewelry, hairdresser. It's saying, oh, this is what I do. This is something that I'm looking to grow. This is something that I'm passionate about, because these connections are really powerful, especially if they're in person, and they can lead to all sorts of things that you would never have imagined would be possible. So being that kind of relentless person and getting yourself out there. And like I said, it's not in a sales way. It's just about telling everyone who you know that you run a jewelry business, even if they know, and telling them about what's going on for you, because those little reminders will really help people to think, oh yes, so and so's a jeweler. Oh, I've been looking to buy a present for someone, and actually that's ideal. And I do this all the time and it works really well. And I speak to the person without any expectation that anything will come of it. I think that's really important, that it's a chat. I'm not trying to get something out of it. But invariably, people get excited because you're excited. And, when they're ready to get some jewelry, they know exactly where to come. The third one is a more practical one, and hopefully if you're at the stage where you're growing a jewelry business, this is already covered, but it's always worth double checking that it is easy to buy from you. So whether you have an online shop, or I'm buying through social media, or I'm buying in person, making sure that checkout process is really seamless, because it's the little things that can stop people from making a purchase even when they want to. If they're on your website and the card details are not going in, or it's clunky, and then they get distracted, it's just too much, you lose the sale. So really making sure that the process is as smooth and easy as possible. So there's some ones that you can just get started with right away. Then getting into it in more detail, I think there are two main sections that I would look to cover. If I was looking at your jewelry business specifically, I would be thinking about, what do you need as the business owner? Because whenever anyone comes to me and says they want to grow their business, they think we're going to look at their business, and we do, but mostly I'm looking at them because everything comes from them. So if they are overwhelmed, exhausted, stretched too thin, if there's a lack of focus and lots of procrastination going on, and often that ends up with lots of self-doubt and all these kind of negative things that we can get into, then there's no point saying just post more on social media. It's not going to work. So always start with yourself, bring it back to you, and have a think about, what do you need? How can you feel as supported as possible so that the business can thrive? Because if you're thriving, the business will thrive almost by itself. So let's have a look at what you will need. So in order to grow in this industry, you do need industry specific knowledge. A jewelry business, I guess most businesses are very specific, but a jewelry business in particular, I think, is very specific. We work with precious metals a lot of the time, gemstones, there's things like hallmarking, there's just so many very specific things with jewelry photography, making sure that people can understand ring sizing, bangle sizing. So having links to other people who understand these sorts of challenges is so important, and it's going to help your business grow way quicker. Some of the real growth steps in my business journey have come through other people sharing something with me, and it's something that I just wouldn't have worked out on my own. And I think this is where the industry specific knowledge section is really important to growing a business. You will also need focus and clarity on what to work on next. So these businesses can become very overwhelming very quickly because most of us are doing everything by ourselves. So you're making everything, designing everything, learning all the techniques, doing all the marketing, doing all the customer service, doing all the packaging, dealing with all the customers. The list goes on, doing the email marketing, updating the product descriptions, doing the market stalls. And, no wonder we don't know what the next thing is we should focus on. No wonder we don't know how to grow it, because we can just get really bogged down in the day to day. So I think having a clear focus of, okay, for the next 6 months, for the next year, however long the period of time is, this is my focus, and I'm going to be disciplined about that. And I might do some other things, but that is the main thing that I'm going to be coming back to. So focus and clarity are going to be really important for growth. You'll also need connection and networking opportunities. So this kind of links to the industry specific knowledge, but I think that feeling connected is really important to jewelry business growth. Again, a lot of us are working on our own, and are a little bit isolated in terms of other jewelers or other business owners or jewelry business owners. And feeling like you are part of something, feeling like you have a team even when you don't, is really going to propel your growth. And it's also going to support you through the really difficult times, which will come up in running a business of any kind. There will be challenges. You'll need support and encouragement along the journey, cheerleaders. And some of us have this at home, which is brilliant. If you've got supportive partners or supportive family who just want you to do well and encouraging you, that is such a bonus. But not everyone has that, unfortunately. Some people are more isolated. Some people are around people who don't really believe in what they're doing. And the good news is you can do it anyway. You don't need it to come from your natural environment, but you will need support and encouragement. So look around. As we're going through the list, I would ask you to have a look at, do you have these things? And where are the gaps? And what do you need to kind of fill in for yourself? And I also believe it's really important to have feedback to help steer you in the right direction, because if you don't have any sort of mentorship or somebody guiding you at any point, it's really a lot harder. And I think, like anything, if there's someone who's been there before, who can look back a few years and say, oh, when that happened to me, I did this and it was super helpful, we can all learn from each other in that way as well. So this is where the Jewellery Business Academy comes in. This is why we created this, because we identified these kind of different areas that people needed, and we've put them all in there. So industry specific business training, quarterly planning sessions to kind of help with, oh, Mango's here, the cat's come to say hi. Quarterly planning. He wants to be involved in the quarterly planning sessions. Quarterly planning sessions to keep the focus and keep the clarity on your goals. One-to-one business support, which is the kind of mentoring and guidance, which I feel like is really important and is maybe one of the most important elements of the program. Group mentoring to be part of a community and have that encouragement and support. And we've added in this year starter and growth tracks to kind of keep some things that will be all together, and some things will be for people just starting, and some things for people who are growing. So this would be an example of content for the growth track, which we are getting into shortly. So it kind of helps you to connect with the right people within the community as well. So The Business Academy is really about supporting you as the business owner. And once you're supported, the business thrives. But for the content of today's session, we are going to delve into what the business needs, because knowing what the business needs and being able to action it is going to be really important. So what does the business need? This is our roadmap. So we always start with the jewelry. I always start with the jewelry, partly because it's fun to start with the jewelry, and also because that's where it all starts for all of us. We make jewelry and then we decide to start a business. It's not usually the other way around. So you're gonna need jewelry, which hopefully you have. So products that you love making is important, because if you don't enjoy making them and your business grows, you're just gonna not enjoy your business. So either products that you love making or you're happy for someone else to help you make, that people want to buy from you. That's what we're looking for. And it sounds obvious, but it's worth identifying. So that's what we're looking for in a growth business. Products you love with people that want to buy from you. But as you're looking to grow rather than start, a growing business need to be more strategic about what they're selling and why. So I think in the first few years, we're experimenting. We're making random stuff. We're putting it out there. We're seeing what takes. We're learning what we enjoy. We're also learning what is long-term sort of sustainable for us. I know that there's certain pieces that I've made and enjoyed, but 6 months later, I don't want to make them anymore. So we're starting to find our rhythm a little bit more with what is the kind of jewelry we want to be making and selling. So I think it's worth evaluating, what are your best sellers? What are the pieces within your range that are selling the most? Because that's a really key indication of what we need to be doing more of. And try and look at why they're your best sellers. Is it because they have universal appeal? Is it something to do with the pricing behind it? Is it just a really lovely piece and you love it, and so you're sharing it more? Take a look into your best sellers. Lost leaders as well. So these are pieces that don't have high profit margins and are not making you a lot of money, but they serve a different purpose. So it might be that they're bringing people into the business. It might be that you make, I don't know, star stud earrings, and they're not expensive at all and people buy them all the time. But you know, they're not that profitable for you. You'd need to sell a lot of those to make a high profit in your business. But seeing, are they working? If someone's buying those, are they coming back for more? Or are they just losing? Are they just losses? So trying to be a bit more understanding of the strategy behind your pricing and your jewelry and how they relate to each other. Understanding your profit margins on your pieces. Now, this doesn't need to be exact. I don't think that we need to get too bogged down with all the specifics of every single tiny detail, because that can be overwhelming in its own right. But we should generally understand if a piece is profitable for us or not. And there'll be some pieces that you can get a lot more profit margin on, and others where you have to sacrifice a bit. And that's fine, that's normal. But knowing that is going to be important as we grow. So, for example, let's say you're making gold and silver wedding rings. Wedding rings have a lot of profit margin in, because they're not difficult to make. They are, move the ring round, solder a join, done. And people are willing to invest quite a bit in their wedding rings. Engagement rings also have high profit margins, because anything to do with weddings, people are willing to pay more for. Whereas, something that takes you a really long time, and particularly if you're working with materials that are lower value, the profit margins will be lower on those pieces. So as we're looking to grow the business, we need to think about, are we looking to grow the number of pieces we sell, or are we looking to grow the profit? And for most people, we're looking to grow the profit. So you might sell the same number of pieces next year as you sold this year, but if you could make twice as much, that would be great. And this is where we need to be realistic about scalability. So as a small business, we can only scale so far, especially if you want to hand make the pieces or hand make the majority of the pieces, which is where it's actually better for jewelry businesses to focus on selling higher ticket items at less quantity. So it's going to be better to sell less pieces in the higher price range. So pieces that cost £1,000, £2,000, £3,000. think about how many of those you need to sell in the year to have a healthy business versus pieces that cost £100 or £150. And it's not necessarily harder to sell more expensive pieces, it's just different. So as we're looking to grow our businesses, I would encourage you to have a high ticket item or a collection of high ticket items. Now, when you're moving from not doing that to doing that, it can be quite scary because you're investing, you might be making pieces in gold, and it takes time. It takes time to grow that higher end of the market. But I would really encourage you to look at that and consider it, because otherwise we're looking at just quantity, and that is a more challenging business model. It is possible, but in most cases for handmade jewelers, we want to sell less items but for higher price points with higher profit margins in there. Okay, that was a long time on the jewelry, but I feel like it was worth it. So step 2 is focus and vision, and these two go hand in hand. So in order to grow, focus is going to be key. So again, up until this point, it's been okay to try lots of different things. Craft markets, events, selling online. Maybe you've got an Etsy store, maybe you've got a website, maybe you're on different social media channels. But in most cases, we're going to be spread too thin in order to really grow in any one area. So I would encourage you to look at what can you strip back, what can you do less of, or what can you let go of, so that you can spend more time on the thing that you really want to grow. So a lot of business owners, when I do one-to-ones with them, are doing all these things they don't really want to do so that they can get to the point where they can do the thing that they do want to do. And a lot of the time I just say, well, what if we just do that now and stop doing the other things? And it's almost it's almost like a light bulb, because it's like, oh, I could just do the thing that I want. And it's not always that simple, but I would encourage you to have a think about, are there things you can stop or let go of that you've been doing in the past that perhaps haven't been profitable or aren't in the direction that you want to go in, so that you can really focus on where you do want to go. So having a clear vision of what you want and where you want the business to be, and focusing on one key path to growth, are going to help the business to grow. And this ties into values for me as well. And I think businesses, as they're growing, so part of growing is attracting more people to you, or attracting more of the kind of people that are going to buy from you. And this is where we want to lead with your values. So first of all, identifying what your values are. For many of us, there might be similar ones around sustainability or ethics, around the idea of handmade and why we love things that are handmade. Slow fashion, it could be to do with things to do with nature or the earth. It could be a hobby that's linked to your jewelry business. Well-being, I mean, the list of values that you can have around your business goes on, but focusing on just one or two. And it should be clear to me as your business grows what those values are. So if somebody said, what are the values of Jewellery Academy? I would hope they'd be able to either come up with, or when told, kind of understand that they're around community, they're around connection, they're around learning. So having a few terms that just make sense for your business and really leading with those, that's going to help attract the kind of people that are going to want to buy from you time and time again. So you become less for everybody and specifically for a particular market or audience. Step 3 is around your brand, and this is really about you sharing your story. So you may have done this before, and what I mean by sharing your story, I don't just mean doing one social media post a year where you say, introduction time, this is me. That's great to start off with, but I mean sharing your story in a different way every week or every couple of weeks. So sharing parts of it. It doesn't need to be your whole story. It's what's going on for you at the moment, what's happening in your business. The other day I started making a piece, and guess what happened? Sharing these little micro stories on socials, in your emails, wherever it is that you share, are a way that people are going to get to know you. So we're starting to see our our social media and our email marketing as relationships. It's not somewhere to, it's not a billboard. It's not somewhere to just plaster stuff. It's somewhere to have a chat with Mary, who bought a piece from you a month ago. And it's somewhere to get a heart from, what names am I going to come up with? Gareth. Don't know why Gareth, who bought something for his wife last year. So it's starting to, again, this is coming back to focusing on those quality rather than quantity, but showing up and sharing and keep sharing. And this is what I find quite difficult, but it's really important. And I see it a lot in businesses that are growing, is to find different ways to share things about what's going on in your world and in your business. And you can go back to the past and say stuff about when you first started, but it's finding different ways to connect with your ideal customer. And the more that they can know about you and feel like they know you, the easier it is for them to trust you. And especially when we're looking at higher ticket items, like if I'm buying a piece from you that costs over £1,000, I want to feel like I kind of know who you are, or I can stalk you online and get a rough idea of who you are and feel confident, like, oh, okay, I know this person. I know them well enough to buy something from them and to feel like I'm going to get it and it's going to be a good interaction. So sharing your story again and again, people buy from you because of their connection to you. So jewelry is everywhere. Nobody has a shortage of where to buy jewelry, but they will buy from you because they like you or they feel connected to you. And it's also okay for people not to like you and not to feel connected to you, because this isn't for everyone. This is for your business, your values, your community. Alrighty. On to step 4, photography. This is a practical one. So as our business grows, we need to invest more and more in the visual aspect of it. Jewelry is very visual and it's desire based. So people buy jewelry because they desire it, not because they need it. Although I do often think, is that true? But nobody would die without jewelry, I don't think. I don't know, I've never tried it. So it's desire based. You see something and you think, oh my gosh, that's gorgeous, I would love that, or this would be a perfect gift for this person. So it's like an emotional purchase. It's not just logical. And so how we get that across is through photography and videography, a lot of the time online, and of course in person as well. But even in person, having photos behind your booths and your stands is going to be really important for getting that kind of branding message across. So as you grow, I would encourage you to invest in your photography. And for me, I use professional photographers because they do an incredible job. And I can take photographs of my jewelry, and I do, but there's nothing quite like a professional photo shoot. And I think, and I've seen this as well with jewelers that I've worked with, once you invest in it, it does something to you inside. You feel more confident. You feel like you want to share more. You want to put it out there. You're excited about the images that have been created. So we need to see images of your jewelry regularly. And we need to see you as the jewelry maker. So sometimes people are like, I've done a brand shoot, it's fine, I've got my photography. And I look through their social posts and all their things, and I can't see any pictures of them. And this is where it's so important for you to be visual, for you to be out there. This is what, if you look through this slide deck, there are many, many pictures of me. And that's not because everybody needs to see loads of pictures of me. It's because it's part of what we do. It's kind of part of the connection. It's not created by AI. It's not some random sort of talk or business talk. It's about me, someone who's passionate about jewelry, who makes jewelry myself, sharing with other people who are passionate about jewelry, making jewelry themselves. And that's why this works, because we're all kind of talking from the same, what's the phrase, hymn sheet or whatever, singing from the same hymn sheet. So it's the same with your business. People need to see you. They need to feel connected to you. So for growth businesses, I would expect a mixture of model shots, brand shots, lifestyle shots, and product shots. And it's also not a one and done situation with photography. It's an ongoing investment. So every couple of years, new images, fresh things coming out. Step 5 is all about connection. So connection is my other word for marketing, because marketing doesn't seem like a very fun word. And really, what is marketing about for us, for our businesses, is all about connecting with people. So having those regular conversations, the relationship building with your customers, like I talked about at the beginning, just talking to people, networking, sharing, both online and offline. And this is where consistency really is the key to growth. So the difference between businesses that are sort of newish and businesses that are on a more growth path are that growing businesses can have consistency in their social media posting, in their email marketing, that it's just normal for them. It's, you know, you might call it automated or however you want to do it, but it's a non-negotiable. They're doing it, they're showing up, and it's not based on likes and it's not based on comments. It's just based on this is what we do. And it really helps to grow. And I also love this idea of letting go of going viral. I think sometimes when you're on social media a lot, there can feel pressure. How many likes has this thing got? How many comments? Don't worry about the likes and the comments, because most people buying from you won't be liking or commenting. Mostly people who like and comment jewelers' stuff on social media are other jewelers, other handmade artists, occasional people who are just sort of swinging by. And the people buying from you will be looking, lurkers. Most of the time, they'll just be looking and checking in, or maybe giving you a heart because they bought something from you a while ago. So really focusing on that quality over quantity. We don't need that many customers, but we want to gradually build those purposeful connections. Step 6 is your website. So having a strong and optimized website where customers can order from you or can contact you is going to be really important in your growth as well. And I would say if you're at the stage where you're looking to grow, it might be a good time to look at how your website's doing and if it needs any kind of updates or upgrades or overhauls. Because if you've been going for a few years and you've got the same website from the beginning, sometimes that works. Sometimes you're able to create one that has lasted the test of time. But if you're anything like me, my first website didn't last too long because it was a quick, like, get something up and scramble around, and the branding wasn't great and the photography wasn't great. So really just elevating things. If you want to elevate, we're looking at elevating your website, your branding, your photography. All of these things are going to make a huge difference to the confidence people have in buying from you, and also the confidence that you have as a business owner putting it out there. When you're proud of something, when you know it's good, you want to share about it, and people can feel that kind of positive energy coming through. Step 7 is launching. So this kind of comes into the marketing bracket, but we love focusing on doing product drops or launches for jewelry business owners. They're a very successful way of marketing your work. They mean that you don't need to be promoting things all the time. You can have breaks, which is really important when you're a one-person show, to avoid that kind of overwhelm and burnout. But it means you can really hone in on an area one bit at a time. So really thinking about how you can attract people, how you can reach people, and just optimizing your launches. So doing them regularly in a way that means that you can evaluate, how did that go? Did that work? Is there something else that needs to be changed? And having this more strategic view of your business, kind of taking it a little bit more seriously, is really helpful in making these key decisions. And I think growing businesses really think about revenue generating activities. So we talk a lot in the Jewellery Business Academy about RGAs, or revenue generating activities. So these are activities that you do as the business owner that the goal of the activity is to bring money into your business. So it could be a craft fair or an event, or it could be an online marketing campaign, or it could be a giveaway, or it could be, all sorts of things. But the goal of it is to bring money into your business. And sometimes they're successful and sometimes they're not. And it's not really about whether they're successful or not. It's about making an intention once a quarter in your business to do them, to evaluate them, and to see what worked, see what didn't, adjust them, and then redo them again. So these are things that are really important as you're growing to kind of, you'll know your business better now than you did when you started. You'll know your customers better, you'll know your products better, you'll be honing and refining who you are and what you do. And like we kind of spoke about in the focus step, the more you can take stuff out, growth is a lot about going from kind of the bottom of a pyramid to the top. It's much more laser pointed. There's less, you're doing less in many ways and you're achieving more. So with that kind of in mind, the growth kind of starts to come as well. Step 8 is about money. So as your business grows, we need to think more about profitability. So again, I think in the first few years, it's just about getting any money in. And it doesn't matter too much if it's profitable or not, because you're just warming up. You're just figuring it out. You're just excited that somebody's buying something from you. And that's a really exciting stage. But as we're looking to grow, and especially if people are going to be buying more from us or spending more money with us, it's really important we're making a profit. You don't want to sell a piece for £1,000 and not make any money. That's a very disheartening place to be. If you sell a piece for £50 and don't make any money, it's sort of like, okay, well, that was a bit of a lost leader. But as we build and kind of scale our pieces and what we're offering, it's really important that sales are effective for us in our business. So looking at the numbers and understanding that it is profitable are going to be really important. And this all comes into pricing correctly, understanding your pricing for wholesale, retail, fine jewelry, and commissions, because they're done in slightly different ways. And having that supportive money mindset is key as well. Because sometimes I see this happen a lot with jewelers, is they kind of know what they should be pricing because they've done the work, they've done the sessions, they've worked it all out. And then it's just like, oh, can I charge that much? I can't charge that much. That's too much. And I understand that kind of idea, but actually it's so important as we're growing our businesses that we feel deserving of that and that we can ask for it and that we don't hold ourselves back around the profitability, because it's so much work to build our businesses up to the stage where people want to buy from us, and making sure it's profitable is really key. We're getting there. You're doing a good job, guys. Let me know that you're still with me. I know it's a lot of content to think about and get through. So step 9 is emails. So email marketing is the #1 tool for actually selling your jewelry when it's done right. So we do all this social media stuff, which is brilliant. It's warming people up. We do all the in-person stuff. Again, great for connecting. But actually the way that people buy things, the most effective way is through an email in the inbox. Jade is still here. Patricia's still here. Hells is still here. Well done, guys. So I would encourage businesses that are looking to grow to be sending out a monthly email and to use it as an opportunity to connect. This comes back again to the storytelling that I was talking about earlier. Share a little story from your month. Share a little something that's happened. Within your jewelry business most of the time, share a little bit about you and link it to your jewelry and have a piece that can be bought at the end. It doesn't need to be long. It can be that you take your most successful social post from that month and make it into an email. But I would definitely recommend at least a monthly email to have that connection with your customers so that people are regularly seeing you, getting that kind of brand recognition, you're front of mind. And again, it might take a year, it might take 2 years, it might take 3 years for this to really work, but it will work. And that time will pass anyway. So you may as well start building those kind of connections. And remember, people buy from people they know. So how can people know you unless you share about you? And I know it can be tedious, but it is worth it. And it can actually be really lovely to share something that's going on for someone else to say, oh my gosh, yes, I understand. Like, I also haven't started my Christmas shopping yet. Must get on that. Whatever it is that you're sort of sharing about, little things. It doesn't need to be big, deep things. It's just conversation starters, connection points. So important. Step 10 is similar to the photography, but focusing on video. So short form video is definitely a non-negotiable anymore. And it's one of the main ways you can build connection and sales with your customers. So if I go to your social media and I can see you talking to me, it's brilliant. You know, if I can see your jewelry, I can see you, I can hear your voice, I can hear you maybe showing a little styling tip or showing the latest piece that you've made. That is going to be, that is like gold, you know, because other people aren't doing it. It's going to really make you kind of stand out, and it's going to make me as the customer feel really confident to buy from you, especially if I'm buying online. So again, I know it's work, but we are focusing. So we're getting rid of the other things that we don't need to be doing anymore. So we have some time, and this is something that you can focus on. It is a different business, but when I started Jewellery Academy, what I did was every Monday I would post a video, and it was on YouTube back then. It was before Instagram really did videos. And I had no idea if anyone would watch them. I didn't know even why I was doing it. I was just like, right, it's a commitment. Every Monday I post a video, and it was a little jewelry making tutorial. And it really worked. It built up momentum. People started asking things, you know, there started being traction. And I think most importantly, it also helped me to understand what people needed, what they were looking for, what they were interested in. So it's almost like that instant feedback as well around, oh, what is it that people are engaging with? So having some sort of commitment to regular posting and what kind of content you're going to post can be really helpful. As you grow, as you move towards the growth stage, I would also encourage you with your social media and your email marketing actually to have a plan, and to have a plan of what you're going to do ahead of time. So it might be, okay, every Monday I share a piece of jewelry. I share a piece from my collection. It's a focus on a piece. Every Wednesday I share a process video of something that's been made in my workshop, Workbench Wednesday. And every Friday I share posts from other small businesses that I love, for example. And so you start to do that regularly, and perhaps you pop other things in between, stories and stuff, but it's almost like you're curating your marketing experience, what you're sharing, and people start to know, oh, it's Monday. They might not even know it consciously, but they see the mixture of the content. It also helps you because you don't have to wake up and think, what am I doing today? What should I share today? Because you know it's Wednesday, so you've got, you know, you've got a kind of strategy and a structure. And preparing your posts in advance, really helpful as well. Step 11 is sales. So sales are really important for growing a business and being more strategic about your sales. So looking at your figures from the past few years, seeing what's worked, evaluating, doing more of what's working. One of the most effective questions you can ask yourself when you're looking to increase your sales are, where have my sales come from already? Because sometimes we're doing all this work, but actually the sales are coming from somewhere else. And maybe we could focus in on the area where they are coming from. If they're coming from friends and families and networks, build on that, you know, really focus in on that. If they're coming from Instagram and people are messaging you, build on that. If they're coming from your emails, build on that. So really starting to use the data or the information, the feedback you're getting back from the work that you've put in so far, and really thinking about, where's it coming from and how can I focus on the areas that are really working. And just to let you know, just for fun, those areas are going to constantly change as you grow in your business. Keep you on your toes. So one year it might be all from Instagram, and the next year you notice, oh, people are buying on Etsy from me this year, and next year it's in person. But we stay present and we keep on top of things, and you know, to the best that we can, without putting too much pressure on ourselves, encourage those sales to come in, and be present and be available for them. I think that's such an important thing with selling, is just to, you know, to ask for the sale, to be there, and to respond when people want to buy from us. And really, to increase our income in our business, we need to look at our products, so our jewelry, what it is that we're offering, which was back to step one. Do we have high ticket items? Do we know what our best sellers are? Do we understand some pieces are lost leaders, so perhaps aren't making us money but are bringing in people to the business? Looking at our marketing, which we've talked about, so the connection, the talking to people, the emails, the social media, but also making sure our pricing is in the right space. So we're not over discounting, we're not offering too much for too little, and we've got profit built into our pricing model. And once those three things come together, that's when the sales are in a good place for us. Step 12 is delegation. So my tip around delegation for businesses looking to grow is to do it before you're ready. So you may think, I don't want to delegate, I'm doing everything in my business. But doing it all yourself is not a badge of honor. And if there are people out there who could do parts of your business better than you for less time, that is a great thing to utilize as you grow, because businesses that grow, often the business owner becomes the bottleneck. So it may be that you're getting lots of orders, but you can't get them out. Or it may be that you've created lots of jewelry, but you haven't had time to do the marketing. So having a look at the areas that are slipping and thinking, is there someone who could help you with this? Now, I would say I don't recommend outsourcing all of your marketing, because remember, marketing is connection. You can't outsource all your connection, but you can get help with it. And ways that you can get help with marketing, so I know that this is something that people ask about a lot, is getting a copywriter or someone to write some sample posts for you, or to write some emails for you that you can then utilize in your business, or getting them to write your About Me page. I mean, this is something you can absolutely do yourself, but the problem is we can do everything ourselves. So I would ask you to identify what are the areas that you would really like some help with. You know, if you could spend some money on something in your business, what would it be? For me, it's things like photography, branding. I do like writing things. I like doing my own videos and all those kind of things. So that's fine. So it's understanding, you know, where would you get support if you were to get it? And just knowing that that is part of the growth journey. There's no businesses that are huge or that are really successful that don't have people helping them. And yeah, like I said, my tip is to do it before you're ready. Because if you wait till you're ready, you'll never do it. So it's pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone sometimes and saying, I'm going for the photo shoot, I'm going to get an accountant, I'm going to do this thing. And it is such a relief when you do it. And again, it's when you're investing in yourself and in these kind of areas that you start to really just get some sort of superpower. I don't know where it comes from, and the business starts to grow. So this is part of it. And this really comes on to our last step, which is about investing in yourself. And yeah, I've mentioned it before, but I think businesses that are growing, they take the business seriously. So taking yourself seriously as the business owner, like you are the owner of this business and you have got this. And that doesn't mean you have to be serious or you have to change your personality in any way, but it's that quiet confidence I spoke about at the beginning of just, yeah, I'm growing my business and this is part of the growth, and I'm getting support with it, and I'm getting people to help me, and it's all coming together. So investing in your growth is a surefire way to make it come. And that is our roadmap. And it's a lot. There's a lot in there. So if you're listening and thinking, gosh, I can't do all of that, that's fine. Maybe just pick one of them to start with, coming back to that focus. What's one out of the 13 that you think, okay, I'm going to take that one away with me. I'm going to start with that one. And remembering that it is a lot, but you have time. So there's no rush in building these businesses, and they do take time. And building high-end jewelry businesses often takes 5 to 10 years, sometimes even more. So I say that not to dishearten anybody, but just to say, it is a long journey. It's worth it, and you're on it and you're doing it. But please don't feel disheartened if it hasn't happened yet. Even if you're doing all the things that you've just heard, it could just be a reminder that you're on the right track and this is all we need to do. And we just keep going. We just keep going. But you are not alone. We would love to be on this journey with you. And this is why we created the Jewellery Business Academy. So I'm going to share a little bit about that now for anybody who is interested. Anyone who does need to slip away before the end, just thank you so much. And I hope you got something really useful out of the session. And I look forward to seeing your businesses thrive and grow as you develop them. So the Jewellery Business Academy, like I mentioned before, it's a 1-year group training and mentoring program, and it's for anyone at any stage of their business, whether they're looking to start one or looking to grow one. And like I said before, this is the main way that we support jewelers in their business. So what does it involve? So we have monthly trainings around a core theme. So each month throughout the year, starting in January, we have a theme for the month, and it covers all the things that I just spoke about, pretty much from your products to your pricing to your website, Instagram and social media, email marketing. The list goes on. So we have a whole month to focus on each area, which means we can really dive into it in detail. So there are pre-recorded professional videos and trainings that you can listen to, learn about. You'll also be working on building a jewelry business growth plan, which is something that you create throughout the year, which is a really comprehensive document for yourself, which is like a manual for your jewelry business, so that you feel really kind of in charge and structured and you know what is happening. As well as the training, there are 10 monthly group mentoring calls. So this is where you'll be put into small groups where you'll be able to talk to other jewelers who are at a similar stage of the journey to you and build that kind of connection and community so that you never feel alone with what's happening in your jewelry business. Then one of the most important parts of the academy is the one-to-one mentoring call that you get. So you'll be matched with a mentor who will be able to support you in a topic of your choice. So if you listen to the session and you thought, gosh, the area I really need to work on is building a website that is selling my jewelry because at the moment no one's buying from me, then we will match you with someone who is running a website that is selling really well, and they'll be able to share what they've done. And I think this is an incredible service. I've not seen this offered anywhere else, especially for jewelers, where you get that very specific mentoring. And people on the current Business Academy often comment this is really valuable. There are starter tracks and growth track options for this year. So this year being next year. So if you're just starting out and all of this feels really too much, you'll be guided towards working through the starter track, which is getting everything going, first few years in business. But those of you that have done all of that and really want to focus on growth, you'll be guided towards the growth track options. And you'll also have sessions with other people at a similar stage of business to you, so you can get support from each other and learn from each other. There's also quarterly business check-ins. So this is where we come together as a whole community once a quarter to check in what worked in the last quarter and what are we going to be focusing on in the next quarter. And this is really important for your focus and accountability so that we're kind of staying on top of things as the year progresses. We also have a dedicated Facebook group and community where everyone can chat to each other, because we do find in the academy, of course, you'll learn from the mentors and the whole team here, but you learn so much from each other as well. So it's brilliant to have, the peer learning as well as the mentoring. We also have exclusive discounts from suppliers in the trade and tons more stuff. We're always adding more to the academy, so it is a great resource. And as I mentioned, this is the first year that we have accreditation, which is very exciting for us. So the new Jewellery Business Academy is CPD, which stands for Continuing Professional Development Accredited Program. So on successful completion of the course, there's a few criteria you need to meet, you will be awarded the certification in jewelry business. And I think this is amazing just because so many people have imposter syndrome around running a jewelry business. And I know that a piece of paper doesn't, necessarily mean anything, but I do think that having a whole year's worth of training behind you and a certified, certificate that has your name on that says you are awarded, a jewelry business certificate, hopefully will help with that imposter syndrome to say, do you know what? I think I do know what I'm doing. I think I have got this. And of course, you don't need that to grow a thriving business, but every little helps. So in terms of the fees for 2026 for the whole year program with all the mentoring, the usual course fee is £3,600, but we do want to make it as affordable and accessible as possible. So we have a current offer of just under £1,000, which is 987. And you can either pay that one time for the whole year, or there's a 10-month payment plan at just £99 per month. So it's incredible value. And what I always say to people is you should be selling at least £99 worth of jewelry a month. So this should be paying for itself 100%. And yeah, it's a very flexible kind of way to build your business, invest in yourself, and move things forward. So if you'd like to sign up, enrollment is now open. We kick off early January, and yeah, we're just excited to get started with the next cohort. Anna has popped the link in the chat so you can take a little look. And we do have a fast acting bonus because we always like to encourage people to strike while the iron is hot. Otherwise, we always think, we'll do it, and then it doesn't happen. So if you sign up while we're on the webinar tonight, or actually within the next 24 hours, because we like to give you a little bit of time, you'll get a free digital copy of my book, which is called Start and Grow a Profitable Jewelry Business. And it is a great thing to look at before joining the program. I mean, it's a great thing to look at any time, but it gives you some reading from now until then. You don't have to finish it before January. But a digital copy is great because you can have it on your computer, on your phone, on your iPad, wherever, and just start flicking through and getting lots of the information in there as well. So if you do decide to go for it, we will send you a link to that in the next couple of days. So we kick off on the 5th of January. So yeah, we'll be ready to go and excited to get into it all. And just to finish off, I always like to say that it is totally possible for you, wherever you're from, whatever your background, whatever age group you are, you know, whatever you've done before or you haven't done before, this is entirely possible for you. And I've seen it happen time and time again. And I know it can be hard when you're not there yet to really believe that. So I just want to hold that belief for you and share it with you that you're on the journey. It's coming to you already, but we want to be here and help support you through the decisions that you're making and just make sure that you stay on track, really, so that the business that you want to grow, you know, you're going to be in the best possible state in order to grow it. So thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I hope you found it useful. Thank you for your patience and listening and absorbing all the information. There will be a replay if you want to listen back as well, if there's anything that you missed. And yeah, just go for it. Keep going. You got this, guys. And if anyone has any questions, I'll stay on for a little bit of time as well. Feel free to ask away. Just having a look through the comments, and I know Anna often answers questions if there are any anyway. So yeah, Elaine says, amazing webinar as always. Thank you so much. And so gently encouraging. Yeah, it's important, isn't it? I think we all need some encouraging. It's not easy to do these things. So yes, and pre-Christmas nose to the grindstone. I definitely understand. I think everyone's kind of exhausted this time of year, aren't they? I've been speaking to lots of jewelers and everyone's just like, I'm tired, you know, because you've done like a lot of the work, because often we start the Christmassy stuff from months ago, but now is such a good point to really just keep going, because this is when people are buying, you know, from now until sort of December, you know, early December. This is really crunch time. So we were talking about this in the Academy session today. Actually, it's with Karen Young, and we were talking about just taking little breaks. If you're exhausted, you know, book yourself a massage. Just have an hour or two out, do the things that you need to do so you don't get burnt out, and just keep showing up, because this time of year is just key for this connection piece, you know, sharing the stories. Those of you that are up and running and kind of going for it already, keep going. I want to have like pom-poms and be like, you can do it, just a few more weeks, and then you can crash over Christmas and relax. Come back, join us in January, and we'll do it together again next year. Brilliant. Thank you guys. I'm just having a look to see if there are any questions. Oh, Liz says, what do you think about paid marketing on social media? Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of paid marketing on social media, I would say. I have experimented with it over the years, and I think for big brands, it can be useful, and occasionally it can be useful. But I think with the businesses that we're trying to build, we're not looking for people to make a quick impulse purchase. We're looking to build those long-term connections where someone says, "Oh, it's Liz. I know Liz. She's awesome. I've been following her for ages. I love her work. I've got 3 pieces from her." And the kind of things that come from, say, Facebook ads, like when I'm buying things, it's usually a one-off purchase. And I don't have a strong connection to the business. So it's all about the offer. It's all about, is it enticing? And sometimes I find the Facebook ad stuff quite manipulative as well. Like it's like they just got to get you because they've got a few seconds, they've got to get you, you've got to spend money. Otherwise, it's not worth it for them. And I think the way we're building our handmade businesses is so different to that. We're leading with our values, we're connecting with people, we're having that deeper kind of relationship. So I would use the time, I would spend the money on something else. I would spend the money on some of the things that we just spoke about, like brand shoots or getting someone to help you create some gorgeous video content, or just spending an extra day working, doing reels and sharing those, or just going through and responding to everyone who's commented on your posts over the last month, or just dropping them a message, just saying hi. So I know it's not as fun, but these are the things that actually help build those deeper connections. So my short answer would be for for the kind of businesses we're talking about, I think that the paid ads are just a bit of a headache, if I'm honest. And Jay says, and start all over for Valentine's. Yes, there's never a rest, is there? But you know, how awesome is that people want to buy jewelry from us? I mean, it's amazing. Alicia says, what kind of business turnover is this course targeted for, please? That's a really good question. It's really broad. So we have people in the Jewellery Business Academy who are brand new and just starting out. But in the growth track, I would say that there are people with business turnovers from sort of 5,000 a year all the way up to around 200,000 a year. Most handmade jewelers, I would suggest the goal is to reach an income of around 90,000 a year, because at the moment in the UK that is below the VAT threshold, and once we pass the VAT threshold, it gets into a whole different beast. Now, we do have people in the academy who are past the VAT threshold, and you'd be very welcome. A lot of the strategies and techniques are the same. They can apply to any kind of stage business. But when I'm creating the content, I'm thinking about that kind of threshold that a lot of us would aim to get to. Because with an income of 90,000, you'll probably be able to get a takeaway of 35,000 salary, which is what a lot of handmade jewelers are sort of happy with, that sort of figure. But everyone's different. Everyone's different, and you may want more, and you may want to create something bigger, or you may want something smaller. This may be different stages of life. Some people are more like at retirement and every income bit is a bonus. Some people have support or just have a different lifestyle where less is more. So I think it's really about just taking the techniques and the strategies and applying them to where you're at. And I'd say 80% of it applies to us all, like connection, budgeting, all these kind of things. And then this is where the one-to-ones and the more specific support and the connections you make within the community become really helpful, because you'll start to identify quite quickly, this person's at a similar stage to me, maybe we can chat more. So it's really quite broad. Brilliant. Just seeing if there's any more. Yvette says, is it best to have a website? Mine's mainly through social media at the moment. I think it is good eventually to have a website, Yvette. I don't think that you need to start with one, but certainly if you're looking to grow, then yes, I would say that's the next step you could take, because it's just another avenue. It's another avenue for people to find you. It's another thing. Whenever I find a business that I like on Instagram, I will go and Google them, try and find their website, try and find out more. It's another way of having content and getting to know you better. It helps build trust, and it can help even more with sales as well. So definitely something to look at. Olu says, how about paying for Google ads, not necessarily social media? Yes, I do prefer Google ads to social media. I like Google ads for a location specific business. So not so much for general, um, because I've not seen that work very well. It's too broad. There's too many people on the internet to compete with. And even with Jewellery Academy, when we've tried to do Google ads, it doesn't really work so well. And we've invested quite a lot over a number of years with agencies, and it's never really been it's never been a great thing. It's been an experimental thing, but not a great thing. Having said that, the jewelry schools that I've run have a physical location. It's been key to have Google Ads. So if you have a physical location like a gallery or a shop or something where people are coming to do workshops, then I would say it is worth exploring Google Ads. But if you are selling online, for me, I wouldn't go for it. I would focus on organic reach, organic search, and building those meaningful connections like we've been speaking about today. Brilliant. Well, thank you guys. Lovely to see you. Have a wonderful Christmas if I don't see you before then. And I look forward to seeing some of you on the Jewellery Business Academy next year. But if not, if it's not right for you for whatever reason, please stay in touch. We have a wonderful community. We have a great Facebook community. We're on Instagram pretty much every day over at Jewellery Academy. We also have a school in Brighton in the UK. So if you fancy a visit, I know a lot of you are not UK based, but if you fancy a holiday, come and join us for a class or check out some of our diplomas. There is something for everyone. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week and see you soon. Thank you, Anna, as well, for joining me in the chat today. And best of luck with growing the jewelry businesses. Take care. Bye for now.